Hey, welcome back everyone. So, we're talking about uh, events of the Scrum process. So, there's four events. First one is sprint planning, then we've got daily stand up, and sprint review, and sprint retrospective. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about sprint planning. So, sprint planning, what is it? What it entails? Who comes? Who doesn't come? And what do they do? So, at the sprint planning, it's actually the Scrum team. The Scrum team attends. No stakeholders attend. It's just the Scrum team. And what happens is that the product owner will be discussing or explaining or elaborating in terms of what requirements he or they may have gotten from the business, and it is their job to elaborate these requirements across openly and accurately and transparently enough to the development team so they can understand what they need to build. And the development team and the product owner and Scrum Master collaborate together to write up the user story. So it's a some people think the product owner writes the 100% of the user stories. Yes, they may do, but it is much more better practice if the development team and the product owner write the stories collectively as a group in this event, because then the development team absolutely know what they are building, and it is this very thing that helps them to know what to build, and it also helps them to know where there's flexibility and where there isn't flexibility. So in essence, the product owner is explaining what is needed, and then the development team and product owner collaborate and write up the user stories or items of work that needs to get done in order to meet the product owner's objective, business objective. And some people say that there's two parts to this meeting. The first part is the what, so what are we building, and the second part is how we're going to build it, which a lot of the Scrum Guide alludes to. But feel free to run this event whichever way you want. But the real crux of it it's for alignment, it's for transparency, it's to get understanding of what we're trying to build, and it's for the product owner and the development team to really collaborate, and the Scrum Master to make sure that everyone knows what they're building and what their role will be for the next 2 to 4 weeks. And it's in this sprint planning where the sprint goal is defined, and this sprint goal will be committed to by the team. That is everyone, the Scrum Master, the product owner, and the development team, that by the end of the 2 weeks or 4 weeks, can we achieve what we set out to do? So it's quite an important event, this, where a lot of decisions are getting made. You could say it's a planning meeting, like a traditional project management meeting. You may use um, network diagrams, schedule diagrams, which is absolutely fine. But typically, it's not used in this. But if it does get used, it's not a problem. And then during this meeting, we do have a build up of user stories, or the user stories might be sitting in a product backlog somewhere. And in this meeting, that the Scrum team works together to bring forward the stories into the sprint backlog that they can commit to and deliver. The key part is what they can commit to and what they can deliver. So they don't want to bring in any extras that they cannot commit to, because then there's no point. Then they are there'll be too much effort involved, and so it's the right level of commitment. And doing it together as a team gives them the responsibility and authority and real commitment that they need to go forward and meet these objectives. And then we have the Scrum Master, who is effectively time boxing the meeting, and what he's trying to do is to make sure that it's time boxed to a certain time limit. So it could be 2 hours, it could be 4 hours. Typically, I have found the sweet spot to be 2 hours and maximum 4 hours. And within this sprint planning, the Scrum team, which is the development team, product owner, and Scrum Master, they commit to a sprint goal, and they is their main objective for the next 2 weeks. And don't forget, the sprint goal is revisited in the daily stand up to see how close are we progressing to meeting this objective. So that is the sprint planning. It is quite a difficult meeting. You definitely need all participants to be there. You need the Scrum Master, you need the product owner, and you need the development team. If any of these individuals are not there, it is very difficult to run this meeting. If there isn't, it tends to go back to command and control. That's what I have seen in the industry. So I highly recommend that this event happens. It happens, I would say the sweet spot for the length of this meeting is roughly 2 hours. I would also say recommend that it happens every 2 weeks, the start of every sprint, as the Scrum Guide recommends. And make sure that you use a lot of the new tools. Some of these tools we'll be discussing later on in some of the advanced chapters in this course. So definitely check them out. And sprint planning is one of the first ones of the Scrum Guide and is the first effective event for the Scrum process to initiate itself. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.